Oh, hi! You know, have you ever wondered where the water comes from at camp? Hey, wait a minute. I could show you. Welcome to the restricted section. The water system is located in the shed behind the Hoffman house that we have so cleverly named the watershed. When you see all that fits inside this tiny building, you're going to be very surprised. Actually, before we get to the system itself, we have to talk about where the water actually comes from. And that's the pump underground. Let's take a look. Now, our water is groundwater. So that means the water comes from deep underneath the ground in a big pool of a well, sort of. And this pump pumps the water out of that big, huge pool of water and brings it up and sends it to the water system. So let's get to that. The first stop the water takes in the watershed is a big blue pressure tank that pushes the water through the pipes. Now the pressure tank is so strong it can push the water through the entire system in the watershed. Isn't that amazing? After the pressure tank, the water gets pushed through a softening system. The softener makes sure that the water doesn't break down any equipment over time. The water then flows past the chlorinating system. We use chlorine to make sure that no bad bugs are in our drinking water and that everyone stays healthy. Then, the water passes through 3 filters. Now the filters are really important because our water comes from the ground. Who knows what might be in it when it gets started up? So as it comes through the system, these filters clean all the water up and make it really nice and fresh and clean for us. That's really cool. Interesting fact, all of us at a summer at Belwood use almost 240,000 gallons of water. That's almost 24 Belwood swimming pools. Wow. Now, you've seen enough of the system now to wonder what these 5 big tanks are. These are retention tanks. Now, retention means hold on to. So these tanks hold onto the water that we just made nice and fresh and clean for 2 reasons. 1, to store it because we use a lot of water all summer. And 2, to break down some of that chlorine that we talked about a little bit earlier so that you're not drinking pool water, you're drinking nice, fresh, wonderful drinking water. The water system hasn't always been in the watershed where it is now. In 2017, we upgraded the water system and brought it from under the kitchen, a place that we nicknamed the dungeon, and up into the watershed. Before that, the water used to be stored in 2 big tanks underground, where those big cement cylinders that you might recognize are. So, whatever happened to the dungeon? Well, actually, the dungeon is still there. You want to see it? Now, I'm not nearly as afraid to go into the dungeon as I am the attics, because I've been in the dungeon hundreds of times before. But I haven't been in it in a couple years since we built a new system, so let's see how that goes. As you can see, the dungeon is not the prettiest place at camp. It clears about 5 feet, which means tall people like me have to crouch down when we are down here. You can see another pressure tank, and that big white thing is a hot water tank that gives the kitchen and the upstairs Hoffman house hot water. Since 2017, the water just passes through the dungeon and to the rest of camp. Now, I'm kind of glad I don't have to come down here anymore because it's not quite as comfortable as the new water system. You can see my breath. It is June 18th and you can see my breath down here. So that was one thing that I kind of miss about the water system is how cool it was down here, but that's about it. Looking around, I kind of getting some fond memories. Hey, wait a minute. What's that? Turns out it was just a skull and the Halloween decorations. I think I've had enough dungeon for one day. Until next time, we'll see you on the restricted section.